Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavad-gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Copout, Chapter 10, Text 23. Is anyone translating? Rudranang Shankaraschasmi Vitesho Yaksha Rakshasam Vasunang Pavakaschasmi Meru Shikharinamaham. Of all the Rudras, I am Lord Shiva. Of the Yakshas and Rakshasas, I am the Lord of Wealth, Kuvera. Of the Vasus, I am Fire, Agni. And of mountains, I am Meru. Purport. There are 11 Rudras, of whom Shankara, Lord Shiva, is predominant. He is the incarnation of the Supreme Lord, in charge of the mode of ignorance in the universe. The leader of the Yakshas and the Rakshasas is Kuvera, the master treasurer of the demigods, and he is a representation of the Supreme Lord. Meru is a mountain famed for its rich natural resources. In the preface to Bhagavad-gita as it is, Srila Prabhupada states that the reason he has made this edition of Bhagavad-gita is to present Bhagavad-gita as it is, yatha tato, in contradistinction to most of the translations of Bhagavad-gita which are misrepresentations of its actual meaning. Misrepresentations and misinterpretations means by the impersonalists. Those maybe spiritually inclined people who deny the personality of Krishna. I didn't say Nirakara in that sentence. They're denying the personality of Krishna. Form and personality are different. Yeah, it's a different, similar but different. You have to be careful. That's how you get misinterpretations. Someone translates it differently to what the person originally said. That's how you end up with it. That's why we have to be very careful when we're translating, especially when we're making books. So, the impersonalists, they give nominal respect to Krishna or formal respect to Krishna. But ultimately they deny His form and personality. And the impersonalists are very fond of this 10th chapter and the 11th chapter of Bhagavad-gita, because they think with their misunderstanding that the 10th chapter and the 11th chapter, they establish that everything is all the same. Because in the 10th chapter, Lord Krishna, just as in this verse, he says, among the Rudras I am Shiva, among the Vasus I am Agni, and like this. And the whole chapter is like that. Most of the chapter is like that. So they take this to mean that, well, you can see Krishna in everything, which is true actually, that you can see Krishna in everything. But the way to see Krishna in everything and to understand who Krishna is different from those who are the actual knowers of the truth and those who are misunderstanders. Those who are actual knowers of the truth know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is, in one sense, non-different from everything because nothing can exist without Him. And He is all-pervading, but He is simultaneously different from everything else. This is the proper understanding of Tattva Jnana. That Krishna is everything, is in everything, is spread everywhere, but He is simultaneously the supreme, dominating, independent principle. Actually, we usually use this word independent. Yes, that's it, swatantra. The original word is swatantra. And that's translated into English as independent. But one devotee friend of mine, a Sanskrit scholar, suggested that the English word independent it doesn't properly give the sense of what swatantra means. Because swatantra, it literally means self-dependent. So there's a subtle but important difference. Although there's no such word in English as self-dependent, so independent is the closest dictionary word. This is not very valuable for Telugu speakers, what we're discussing, but for English speakers it is. But actually it's important to understand all these words very carefully. Because the word swatantra is in Telugu doesn't mean that everyone understands its theological implications. So independent, this term defines a person's position in relation to others. So certainly Krishna is independent, but more precise is that He is self-dependent, which is a definition in relationship to Himself. So all these points are necessary to understand if we are to properly understand Krishna. But the impersonalists, they just say, it's all one. Yeah. Nirakarvadi is one term. Nirvisheshvadi is another term. Nirvisheshvadi, Prabhupada used that term more than Nirakarvadi. The term Nirvishesha is a more accurate term for impersonalists than Nirakarvadi. Because akar or form is only one visheshta, it's only one specific characteristic of anything. So the specific characteristics by which we know any person are the name, form, qualities, activities, place of residence, friends, personality. These are all the different visheshta, or the specific characteristics of any person. So the impersonalists say that the Absolute Truth has no visheshta. It's devoid of characteristics. Or even if they accept that Krishna has name, form, qualities and activities, they don't accept it as vishesh, nothing special. He's just one of us. They say, see, all the gods are the same. You see here Krishna says, I am Shiva, I am Agni, I am Kuvera. So, all the same. All the gods are the same. It's an intellectual cop-out. Cop-out. You know what that means? It means like, instead of taking the trouble to investigate and understand, they just make some simple formula and finished. Just like they say, Joto mot toto pot. As many paths, as many opinions, that many paths. All roads lead to the same goal. So, Bhagavan, Krishna, he spoke the Bhagavad-gita describing all the different tattvas in great detail. And the acharyas, they have in great detail. Vyasadeva compiled Srimad Bhagavatam. The acharyas have analyzed the Shastra in great detail to establish the supremacy of Krishna and the supremacy of the path of Bhakti to Krishna. But lazy people who are uncommitted and insincere, they just say, all the same. All the gods are the same, all the paths are the same, do whatever you like, it's all the same. And don't do anything, it's all the same. If you don't do any puja, it's all the same. Worship a pig, same. Worship some Baba or Bappa or some Amma Bhagavan, it's all the same. Whatever you like, it's all the same. You like to smoke cigarettes and drink desi sarab, and it's all the same. And why did Krishna speak Bhagavad-gita to Arjuna? Arjuna said to Krishna, I don't know what to do, I'm confused. And Krishna said, he could say, well, you fight or not fight, do whatever you like, it's all the same. Should I fight Bhishma or should I not fight him? And Krishna just, it doesn't matter, do whatever you like. Then there's no dharma, because dharma, adharma, it's all the same. This is the effect of this enervating philosophy. Enervating means it takes away all your energy. It's just like in the summer when it's very hot here, you just don't have any energy, right? Is it? You have energy because you're devotees. You have energy to serve Krishna. But physically, you just feel like that. So this impersonalism, it takes away all our spirit to surrender to Krishna. Krishna says, Sarvadhaman parityaja mamekam sharanam raja. You surrender to me only. Who will do this? To do this, one has to go against everything in the world. If anyone does this, then everyone will blame him. He's left his duties, become a madman. But Krishna demands that this is the only path for your benefit, is to surrender to me. Krishna wants our commitment. But if we think that, well, Krishna or anyone, it's all the same, then how can we commit to Krishna? Hey, worship Krishna, not worship Krishna, all the same. Then how can there be any bhakti? We have to be convinced that by surrendering to Krishna, everything will be perfect and complete. But this idea that, well, just worship anyone, however you like, whenever you like, then it completely robs the spirit of bhakti to Krishna. That's why it's very important to understand the mission of Shankaracharya in this world. He is lauded by many as the greatest teacher of Hinduism, although there was no such word of Hinduism in those days. Hindu Tattva, no. Not Tattva. Vada. No, not Hindutva. Hindutva is a new thing. I don't know how to say it in Telugu, but whatever you say. Hindutva means the modern political movement. But the Hindu Matam, yeah, that's a good one. You have to use your words very carefully. Otherwise you get the wrong meaning. Sorry. I don't know Telugu, but I know enough Sanskritam to know when you're saying things wrong. It's not Tattva. Hindu Matam is not Hindu Tattva. It's Atattva. So, Shankaracharya is highly lauded because he re-established the Vedic Dharma, and in this way especially drove out Bodhavadam, Bodhamatam. But then others, the followers of especially Ramanujacharya, especially Madhva, the Madhva followers, they say he's especially the Madhva Sampradaya, they say actually Shankaracharya was a great asura, because by identifying the jiva with Bhagavan in his philosophy, it is highly misleading. Bhakti means surrender to Krishna, which is possible only if we understand Krishna is supreme. I am his eternal servant. I am eternally subordinate to him and dependent on him. But if one thinks that I am in essence, by nature, the same as the Supreme, I am the Supreme, then where's the question of bhakti? Even if we do bhakti, if we're thinking, eventually I will become the same that I am worshipping, then that's not bhakti at all. That's just like someone flatters a big man with the idea, I'll take over his post. I'll win his confidence, get his favor, take all the advantage and kick him out and myself take the post. So such behavior is very deceitful, isn't it? That you win someone's confidence and they help you to come up and they trust you and you become more and more powerful, but all the time you're thinking how I can become powerful enough just to kick them out and take over their position. It's the most abominable approach. So if one is doing bhakti, so-called bhakti, and at the same time thinking that I'll eventually become God, is not bhakti at all. It's like the behavior of a snake. So even though Shankaracharya spoke of bhakti, the Vaishnava acharyas, they say that this kind of bhakti, that's it's more dangerous than someone who's an open enemy. If someone is openly inimical, then you are warned to take caution. But if someone is living in your house and being maintained by you, and he's just plotting how to kill you, it's much more dangerous. If there's an enemy, you know he's an enemy, you'll lock him out. But if there's someone pretending to be your friend, but he's actually just plotting to kill you, it's much more dangerous. So, although some people laud Shankaracharya as the greatest preacher or the greatest upholder of Hindu matam, others, they say he's the most dangerous person in the history of Hindu matam, or whatever you want to call it. Vedic culture, Vaidiki Sanskriti. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu referred to Shankaracharya as Acharya, but he rejected his mata, he used that term, his opinion. He accepted him as being Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva is accepted as the greatest Vaishnava, Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. But at the same time, Lord Shiva has a very strange role of overseeing the Tamaguna. So Lord Shiva, he oversees the ghosts and the ghostly people. People want to be Nirakar. So that Nirakar is a ghost. They have, it looks like an akar, but there's nothing there. There's nothing solid there. So, Lord Shiva has an apparently very contradictory role, but it's all in the service of Krishna. So these are all very subtle points which have to be understood very carefully. That Lord Shiva came as Shankaracharya to establish this actually totally incorrect philosophy. But at the same time, he established at least superficial respect for the Vedas, which the Buddhists, they're enemies of the Vedas. They were always blaspheming the Vedas. And Shankaracharya, he spoke of the misery of material life and the need to come to spiritual life. So we can quote Shankaracharya. Many of the things he said are very good. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatare shayanam. It's a fact. Birth and death is miserable. But then his ultimate conclusion that the jiva and Ishvara are the same, it's a total disaster which totally spoils people's genuine spiritual aspirations. And because of this idea that all the gods are the same, everything's okay, therefore you have all these, and in the modern age you have all these totally bogus people calling themselves Amma and Bhagavan, and there's dozens of them running around all over the place. The actual Bhagavan is Krishna, very clear, but they're crazy after some Muslim fakir or some so-called Amma. Here's a point I often make. You can use this in your preaching, if you're preaching. We hope you're preaching. 5,000 years ago, Bhagavan Krishna appeared in this world and spoke Bhagavad-gita. And at that time, all the great personalities like Vyasadeva and Yudhishthira, they all accepted Krishna is the Supreme Personality. And even 130 trillion years ago, Krishna spoke to Vivasvan, the Sun God. And still Krishna is being worshipped today as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. 5,000 years ago, no one had ever heard of Sai Baba or Amma Bhagavan or Kalki Avatar, or in North India of Asharam Bappa, who's going to get arrested and put in prison soon. Even 500 years ago, no one had heard of these people. Even 50 years ago, most of them. And now so many people say, oh, this is God. And 5,000 years from now, probably 500 years from now, all these people again, no one will have heard of them. And still Krishna will be worshipped. Young Brahma, Varunendra, Rudra, Maruta, Stunvanti, Divyaistavaya, all the demigods are worshipping Krishna. So who is actually God? Therefore, coming back to the point I made at the beginning of this class, we should distribute this Bhagavad-gita as it is to address all the misconceptions that are going on in the name of Vedic knowledge. Shankaracharya drove out the misconceptions of the Buddhists, but he introduced a whole new pack of him by himself. The Vaishnava Acharyas established the actual point. Hari Sarvotama. Hari, Krishna, is above all. And so many people are coming here to Tirupati because Hari Sarvotama. He's the top. He's on top of all. Balaji. They don't understand this principle. Therefore, from here they go to Sabarimalai and they think Ayappa is the best. Whoever Ayappa is. Which Shastra is there Ayappa? It's just it's another modern imagination. So please distribute this Bhagavad-gita as it is and establish the actual point. Matah parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya. Krishna, there's no one equal to or superior to him. As I say every time I come to this ISKCON Tirupati, that this temple, people come and they come for darshan, but their real benefit will be when they get Bhagavad-gita as it is. Hare Krishna. I'll finish here. Any questions, please? Questions, comments, protests? Speak now. What's the word for protest? Protest, complaints? Inertia. Yeah, again, Sanskrit word. Okay, no complaints. That means everyone agrees? Or maybe no one understood anything? Or maybe they just think, well, whatever he said is okay because everything's all the same. Whatever you say, it's okay. That's the danger of this Mayavad, is that you try to establish Krishna as the supreme and they say, well, that's just your opinion. Therefore, we have to say clearly, loudly, strongly, repeatedly, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Wait a minute, stop. We have to hear what he says also. Listen. Then you can clap afterwards. Okay, now you can clap. Hare Krishna. That's all for now. Hare Krishna.